So one thing, you mentioned the storming of the Capitol, which happened in the United States last week. And I just had a podcast with a professor of economics about why these people did what they did. And it's amazing to me, Nick, and speak to this if you would, how different people filter the pandemic through their brains differently. So for instance, in the United States, you'll have people that think it's all a fluke. It's nothing worse than the flu. And then you'll have other people that won't leave their house for 6 months. And then, my view is we ought to do the best we can to walk kind of a middle path. We go about our business, but we take precautions. And when there's hot spots, we shut those down until it cools off a little bit. But talk about how, in your view, the pandemic has revealed to us all the different bizarre ways the human mind works under stress.
Well, if you even step back even further, what it's revealed to us is that what we thought, or what many people thought, was an agreement after the rise of science in the 17th, 18th century. I was originally a medic, but then I became a historian and philosopher of science. And you can see quite a lot of what's happening is still a kind of playing out of modern life. So we all thought, okay, religion faded from significance as the arbiter of truth about matter, material world, and science became the arbiter of truth. And a lot of people thought that was it, job done. But actually what we're seeing is it wasn't job done. And there were a lot of people who weren't really buying into scientific process or progress. And a lot of scientists, rational thinkers, policy advisors, wonks, assumed that dissent had gone away. And probably hasn't done a good enough job in the last 30, 40 years of telling good narratives, leadership narratives about the benefits, for example, of the economic alliance with Europe in Britain, or the benefits of vaccines, but also the concerns, like being honest about the fact that they're not, if you puncture the human body, there's a risk of all sorts of different things, right? So I think, as a friend to science, I can see that it's got some responsibility for where we're at right now. And what we have got is essentially an issue between, do we believe in our own experience, primary experience, or the experience mitigated through social media, the church, Bible, narratives, or do we believe in science? Or, as I do we believe there's a way to try and bring them both together? You talk about middle path, very much core to my philosophy is, how do we use the best of science, but not pretend that science can answer questions about human conscience? It can't. It's very bad about doing that. It's very poor at being creative, empathic, collaborative in its understanding of the world. So that's kind of, I think, where we're at, is we've got this spectrum where some people are just reading what their other 5 conspiracy theorists are reading on Twitter, mediated through that lens. Some people are just looking at what the scientific papers are saying. And I think the job of a leader, whether it's financial data or sales data, the job of a leader is to bring the data into our minds and our hearts, and also bring our intuition and our wisdom and our sense of things, and our sort of the things that reason doesn't know about, the things that our mind can't tell us, and make decisions. And what we're seeing at the moment is we've got some people, leaders, who are all right over there, and we've got some people right over here, and we've got a schism essentially in the heart of political and social world. And it's so easy to fall in the trap myself of being right about people being wrong in the culture wars, right? Yeah. There's nothing I like more than saying, oh my God, I can't believe those people are still hugging, when they meet someone on the street. I mean, how many more people have to die before people realize that if you hug and you're asymptomatic, but you're carrying the virus, you are likely going to be passing it on to people, right? So, but that doesn't help that rightist, the sort of, being right about anything doesn't really help. It's one of the great lessons of leadership is being confident is really important, but being right is usually the sort of end of things, the beginning of the end.